Daylight savings time sucks, but why is it so hard? Other than the obvious and the fact that you're probably losing out on an hour of sleep, why is it so difficult? First, because we're saving those daylight hours till the end part of the day, depending on what time you're waking up, you're likely waking up in the dark, and that does make it a lot more difficult for you to get acclimated on a new schedule. The other reason that you are likely struggling so much is depending on how much sleep you are currently getting. 1 hour out of a normal 8-hour night is obviously a much smaller percentage than if you're only getting, let's say, 6 hours of sleep. An hour is a lot bigger chunk of your normal sleeping time. So, how do we make things suck a little bit less? The best tip that I have is to get a Happy Light. If you are watching this video and you have enough time to order it and actually get it, having a Happy Light is so incredibly helpful to help you get on your essentially new and slightly altered sleep schedule. So why is this? Light cues are fantastic for helping set your circadian rhythm. And because you're likely waking up in the dark, or maybe when the sun is just starting to come up, it is going to be so much easier and so much more effective if you have bright light very, very early on in your day. I am still looking into it, but my understanding from the research that I've read so far is that light cues are humongous, and the earlier in the day that you're getting the light cues, depending on what time you wake up, that is going to make your life so much easier. You're going to improve your sleep. You're going to be able to get on your new schedule that much more easily. So a Happy Light is intended for somebody who has seasonal affective disorder to maybe help lessen the symptoms of their depression, and you can definitely use it as it's prescribed use if that's something that you're struggling with. It is fantastic for sleep. I live in a very sunny climate, and I find this invaluable as a tool to kind of help with my general health. And so if you are not in a sunny area, I would highly, highly recommend this as a tool to have in your arsenal. But if you can't afford it, or you don't have enough time to actually get it before daylight savings time, you're not out of luck. What I would recommend is to get under the brightest light that you have in your house, because that is going to help. Yes, it's not going to be as effective as the sun, but it's still going to be helpful, and don't let perfect be the enemy of good. And then the other thing to keep in mind is that you're going to want to get outside and get under the sun if you possibly can, as soon as is reasonable for you, to make getting on that new schedule just a little bit easier. Next, we're going to go over a couple tips that I have that you can do the night before that are going to help you sleep a little bit more easily and get to sleep a little bit more quickly than maybe you normally do. So my first tip is that you want to take a hot shower or bath about 90 minutes before going to bed. There is a good reason why a lot of parents give their kids baths shortly before going to bed, and it is fantastic to help you fall asleep. So the reason for this is that having your core temperature lower is a signal to your body that we're preparing for sleep, and a hot shower or bath dramatically helps with that process. So even though you're going to sleep maybe a little bit sooner than you're used to, you're going to sleep a little bit more easily and not maybe toss and turn quite as much as you normally would if you do this tip. One thing to keep in mind is you don't want to take your hot shower or bath immediately before going to bed, because it does take a little bit of time to have your body adapt to get the basically sleepiness signals. I don't think there's any harm in taking it immediately before you go to bed, but it's going to work a little bit more effectively if you do it about 90 minutes before going to bed. Another thing you can try the night before going into daylight savings time is to have a banana about an hour before going to bed. So you're going to take your shower, get out of your shower, take the banana. It seems super random, but it's something that actually works to help you fall asleep a little bit more easily and to sleep a little bit more deeply. I did a full video on it, so I won't go over all the reasons. I'll just link the video up in the cards above if you want to check it out. But I could not believe at how effective this is in assisting with sleep. For me personally, taking a sleeping pill is the absolute last resort, just because I feel so junky when I wake up that it's kind of almost not worth it. And having a banana before bed is a fantastic tool to help you get to sleep. It's not going to knock you out or anything like that, but I really, really like the results that I saw, and it's definitely a tip that I keep in my arsenal because I did find it to be effective. Another thing to try, and this isn't going to help with your sleep so much as to make your life the next day and the next couple of days just a little bit easier, is to prep everything that you can the night before. If you can do it the night before, do it the night before. The reason for this is that, at least for me, when I am sleep deprived and groggy, I am so much more forgetful. And if I am prepping everything that I can the night before, my stress level is that much lower. And when you're adding the stressor of maybe getting a little bit extra, less sleep, being on a new schedule, having everything else and having your ducks in a row makes your life a lot more easier. And that way you're not going to forget anything, and you just have one less thing looming over you when the next day. Another thing to try, if you're not already doing it, is to get on a bedtime routine if you don't already have one. You want to be going to bed at a consistent time because you are going to fall asleep a lot more easily if you have a consistent bedtime. So for me personally, I thought I was in a good spot. It took me maybe 20 to 30 minutes to be able to fall asleep, but now that I'm going to bed at a very specific time, my time to fall asleep is between 5 and 10 minutes, and it's definitely a relief off of my shoulders not to be sitting awake or to sometimes need to get up out of bed and make myself like a cup of sleepy tea or something like that. And in fact, I have not had sleepy tea in a really long time because I don't need it, because I'm going to bed at a consistent time. If you don't have enough time before daylight savings time to implement this tip, you're not out of luck or anything like that. I would just recommend getting on a consistent bedtime as soon as you possibly can, just because it is going to make your life a little bit more easy, and you are going to sleep that much more better. That much more better? No, that much better. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up so I know you liked it. Sweet dreams!